Thanks for the moon and the stars up above, but most of all, thanks for the family I love. Look, that little girl's a ballerina. That's what you want to do, ain't it? I work for Ford Motor Company at the Kentucky truck plant. I'm a third-generation Ford employee.
When manufacturing spread to towns across America, it brought jobs and a way of life. Working-class families could buy their first home and a piece of the American dream.
Here we go.
Mark Dowell and his wife Melinda have worked at the local plant for most of their adult lives. Recently, the plant cut back Mark's work to every other week. Now they're struggling to make ends meet.
2409.
His grandfather Harold and father Carl each worked over 30 years and received full retirement benefits.
It was a lot better time back then. People felt like they had security in their jobs.
In July, Melinda was laid off after 8 years on the job.
From the day I was born, I've been tied to Ford. So this is all I know is Jay in. Hey Jay, this is Mark Dowd calling from the union. How are you? If a plant shut down here in Louisville, it would just be devastating. People would lose their homes. Restaurants and retail stores would lose business because people wouldn't have the money to shop. Thanks for your support. All right, bye-bye. I feel like we're all in the same boat. We all got to pull together, and if we don't, we're going to lose America as we once known it.
As challenging as these times are, we've seen harder times before. My grandfather fought in Patton's army in Europe. My grandmother stayed home working on a bomber assembly line even though she had a kid to look after. Not only did they defeat fascism, but they lifted themselves up out of a Great Depression. That was their generation's moment. And this is our moment. I learned at an early age from my grandparents how vital it is to defend liberty. And as Commander-in-Chief, I will never hesitate to protect our country. As President, I'll rebuild our military to meet 21st century challenges. I'll renew the tough, direct diplomacy that can prevent Iran from obtaining nuclear weapons and curb Russian aggression. And I'll refocus our efforts on finishing the fight against Al-Qaeda and the Taliban in Afghanistan. But I'll also never forget that when I send our armed forces into battle, I'm sending sons and daughters and fathers and mothers. I still remember a woman I met in Iowa. Her son had shipped out to Iraq 2 weeks earlier. And I had a close friend who was on his way too.
All right, I'll be praying for you.
Thank you very much.
All right? Okay. Appreciate you. Thank you.
As a retired general officer from the U.S. Army, it makes a difference to me how a potential commander-in-chief thinks about war and peace. That's what we're looking for in a president. Somebody that understands the stakes and has the courage and the judgment to approach them rationally and with a sense of duty to the Constitution and the people of the United States. And that's why I think he's going to be a great president.
Everybody here has got a story. Somewhere you've got parents who said, you know what, maybe I won't go to college, but I know if I work hard, my child will go to college. Everybody here has got a story of somebody who came from another country. They said maybe my grandchild or my great-grandchild, they'll have opportunity, they'll have freedom. Everybody here has got a story about a grandparent or great-grandparent who worked in a coal mine, who worked in a tough factory, maybe got injured somewhere, but they said, you know what, I may not have a home, but if I work hard enough, someday my child, my grandchild, they'll have a home they can call their own. That's the story of America.
This guy is special because I think he can bring people together, because he's a good, decent man that understands the world through his background, that he's a man that can heal this country, that can bring bipartisanship, that there's very unusual, good, positive sides to this man that we need at this juncture in our history.
I'm reminded every single day that I am not a perfect man. I will not be a perfect president. But I can promise you this, I will always tell you what I think and where I stand. I will always be honest with you about the challenges we face. I will listen to you when we disagree. And most importantly, I will open the doors of government and ask you to be involved in your own democracy again. America, the time for change has come. And to all of you and all of those who've joined us from across the country, in 6 days, we can choose an economy that rewards work and creates jobs and fuels prosperity, starting with the middle class. In 6 days, we can choose to invest in health care for our families and education for our kids and renewable energy for our future. In 6 days, we can choose hope over fear and unity over division, the promise of change over the power of the status quo. In 6 days, we can come together as one nation and one people and once more choose our better history. That's what's at stake. That's what we're fighting for the small business owner in Denver to keep his doors open, for the hard-working couple in Cincinnati to retire in comfort, for the young student in Fort Lauderdale to afford her tuition, for men and women in every city and town across this nation to achieve their American dream. And Florida and America, in this last week, if you will knock on some doors for me, if you'll make some calls for me, if you'll go to BarackObama.com and find out where to vote, if you'll stand with me and fight by my side and cast your ballot for me, then I promise you, we will not just win Florida, we will win this election, and together we will change this country and change the world. Thank you. God bless you. And may God bless you.